Afternoon. The second technical session start now. First presenter, I invite Mr. Mahmoud Malud Khalaf Al-Mishadani for his presentation.
Yes,
He
ma'am.
is PhD scholar, faculty is a PhD scholar, Faculty of Arts, English
Yes.
Department, AMU University. His topic is post-colonial reading of Shakespeare's and Marlowe's drama. Okay, I welcome you.
Thank you very much, madam.
Yes.
My paper is Postcolonial reading of Shakespeare's and Marlowe's drama. Thank you for your invitation. The definition of the post-colonialism as a academic about colonialism and cultural legacy, consequences of the colonial exploitation and controlling over colonized people, as well as is not restricted for a period of time. My paper argues that there are many different words in the Elizabethan era, which include the intentional subjectivity acquisition beyond the connectivity of relationships and Christopher beyond the help of all done without the history of English literature. Of historic position that examine and acceptance as the best and critics. They have acute revision about the future of humanity. Shakespeare plays the tempest, and Marlowe plays are used by the post-colonial the life of and colonialism. They attempt to read Shakespeare the tempest by questioning the authority of Prospero and, and the enslavement of Calais. Marlowe's factors regarded as the face of the English drama, which revealed actual of the colonialist and imperial drama. The play operates different the other domain that contains geographic separation, which is the of knowledge and knowledge lead to colonization. And Marlowe
Mr. Mahmoud,
Yes.
Mahmoud,
Yes,
your voice is breaking.
Some problem arise. I think it's my mistake.
Your voice is not clear.
My voice not clear?
Yep.
Now, what about now, madam? Hello? Hello? Am I, madam? Hello?
Mahmoud, your voice is not audible.
Am I audible now, madam?
There's some
Hello?
problem. I think again it's continuing.
Madam?
Yes.
Okay? Hello? Am I audible?
It's not clear. Some
Shall I continue, madam? Hello? Hello, madam?
yes, it's not audible. Audible, Mahmoud.
I audible now? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, madam? Am I audible now?
Your voice is breaking.
This is I was not. Hello. Shall I continue, madam? Hello.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Yes. Thank you, madam. Shakespeare the Tempest Marlowe's plays, Dr. Faustus, have been made by postcolonial critics in the light of imperialism and colonialism. They attempt to reach Shakespeare's The Tempest by questioning the authority of the island by force and the enslavement of Taliban. Marlowe's Dr. Faustus is regarded as the face of the English drama, which reflects the actual fears of colonialists and imperialists at their dawn. The play incorporates different states of the other's domination that contain a geographic exploration which distill the acquisition of knowledge which lead to colonization. Peace and place are reflection of English Renaissance attitude represented by the lust of gaining more known knowledge and explore the unreached lands, the desire to control other nations and countries, their people, and exploit the forces of their. Winfred Chaucer, in his work, Shakespeare's Psychiatry, wrote about Shakespeare that he was perhaps the most accurate mirror of other mankind. Observe one who knew human nature, who depicted with truth. The Tempest is his last drama in which he depicted the colonial ideologies, characters, behavior, and speech. Prospero and his daughter Grant were two sisters who came to live after their shipwreck. Arrival of Prospero to the island of, of the island, but according to the colonial process, Prospero, the beginning of his arrival to the island, started a relationship with friendly attitude towards native Caribbean. After his knowledge about all the secrets of the island from native Caribbean, Prospero his behavior and forced him for enslavement. This relationship changing established the relationship between the colonizer with the land native, their different soft and honest that and then gradually explore and colonize them. The following dialogue between Prospero and his daughter Miranda highlights attitude and his point towards Caliban. Prospero, come on, please visit Caliban. I never yield kind answer. Miranda, a flame there. Do not have to look on. Prospero said, as we cannot find, he makes rich in our wood and serve in all. Shakespeare's play attempts to express and highlight the idea of colonialism, depicting the exploitation of by people by the others. Language amid community elaborated the post-colonial critic and viewed as a people of enslavement when from the colonizer Miranda, Prospero's daughter, believes that he makes a great effort when teaching Caliban her own language. She said, I took them these speak, describing his native language as Dabo. It is the most important feature colonization to that the colonizer regards his colonization as a move of the colonizer to civilize the several people of the world. In the play, the colonizer and his daughter present the colonizer. Marlowe's Dr. Faustus includes different stages of domination that the knowledge related to colonialism. Other at their knowledge possession, economic exploitation, and colonization are real aids of imperialist at play. Regarded the earliest English drama, which reflects the actual imperialist and colonial affairs, the knowledge in the pre not it pathway to the acquirement of power and advice which enables spouses to control and influence other things that move between right force shall be at my command. Emperors and kings are not obeyed in their several provinces. For imperialism, which is through this submission, is described in geographic places such as India and Sabah. William Taylor, in his work, Solomon, Gender, and Dr. Faustus, identifies Faustus with whose empire extended to Sabah with the support of monarch service. Faustus acceded book of magic to acquire magic, provides him the power he wishes to open of universal knowledge for him. With this superhuman power and knowledge, he gains control over the present each part up representative of the history, the great religion and healing for violation and investigation. The viewpoint of different justice can be seen in his relation and position by conquest, subjugation of other lands, which described by the postcolonial as a spirit of fascism, which promotes colonialism. The purposeful knowledge Faustus becomes a part of this and Marlowe about represents power and nation. Faustus says, will be emperor of the world and air to pass the nation will stand over. When you look at the British Empire story 4 centuries after Marlowe's Dr. Faustus, see how he formulated the empire control over most of other countries, including those mentioned in Marlowe's. They defeat Spain, invaded North Africa, India, and even Sabah. Thank you very much, madam. Hello. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mahmoud Malud Khalif Al-Mashidani. But your voice was breaking through the session, so we can't listen that. Okay, thank you. Have any to Muhammad audience, please?
Thank you very much, madam.
Okay, thank you, Mahmoud.
Thank you very much, madam. Thanks for listening. Thank you very much.
Second participant, I invite Gmt-8, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, Guru Nanak Khalsa College for Women. The topic is Things Fall Apart as Post-Colonial Novel. I invite Gmt-8.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Today, I'm going to present my paper on the novel, very popular novel by Chinua Achebe, Things Fall Apart, and as a post-colonial novel. Post-colonial is a concept widely related to countries in Asia, India, Africa, and South America, and is helpful in understanding the history of these countries. Post-colonial literature is a fast expanding area, and a number of journals, monographs, and conferences are being held every year to make this term more extensive. Post indicates something after or behind something that happens or comes after the event. So the things which happened after colonialism are called post-colonial. The Oxford English Dictionary defines colonial as farms or landed estates which were located in newly conquered territories of the Roman Empire and were originally given as gifts to Roman citizens who served in wars. According to Albert Adbohun, the Ghanaian academician, historian, and politician, there was one primary reason behind the colonization of Africa: the quest for a larger market and for cheap raw materials to feed the industries. The scramble for Africa happened in the 1880s when there was a race between the Western countries to expand their colonies in African countries. The novel Things Fall Apart was written by late Chinua Achebe, who was a Nigerian author. Nigeria was one primary nation that received missionaries who were on the mission to educate as well as spread Christianity among the Africans. The religion and culture were opposed on the Igbo community. This change largely patterned the Igbo culture.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
Sir, is that the problem everybody else is
Could
also
you
facing?
find?
Am I audible to the rest of the members?
Yes, you are audible.
Sir, that means the problem is at your end then. So let me continue, please. This change largely threatened the Igbo culture. Chinua Achebe was born in 1930, attended a primary school, and the effect of European literature can be largely seen in his writings. Achebe wrote this novel to educate the readers about the value of African culture. The novel provides an insight into the Igbo society exactly before the invasion of missionaries into their communities. This very invasion was a threat not only to every aspect of their society, but also to their traditional gender roles, family structure, trade, and religion as well. The novelist blamed these white missionaries' colonial rule for the oppression of Igbo culture. The conflict can be seen between the individual and the society. In addition to this, Achebe teaches the reader specifically about Igbo society's myths and proverbs. At the same time, it is to be pointed out that the Africans who were subjugated by the Europeans were far from being savages and barbarians. Africans had a rich culture heritage and a thriving economic and social system just before the 1880s, when the scramble for Africa began and ended their independence. Before the writing down of this novel, all the novels written about Africa were mainly written by the Europeans and from their point of view only. The Africans were depicted largely as uncivilized and uneducated people without a sense of living a proper life. Therefore, they were projected as savages. By doing so, the Europeans wanted to create a foil for them so that by contrast, they could appear in a positive light as the upholders of civilization and progress. Hence, a negative image of Africa was created in this way for the Africans, and on the contrary, an all positive image of Europe and Europeans. Joseph Conrad's novel Heart of Darkness, published in 1899, was one of the most widely read novels of the times. Conrad described Africa as wild, dark, and uncivilized continent. Joyce Carey wrote Mr. Johnson following Conrad's novel in 1952. This is also quite a popular read than Heart of Darkness, as reviews suggest. In this novel, according to Sickles, the protagonist, Mr. Johnson, has generally been described as a childish, semi-educated African who reinforces colonialist stereotypes about Africa. In order to tell their side of the story about Africa and its people, a number of African writers and Achebe began to write novels depicting their more authentic story. Wole Soyinka and Ben Okri were among those popular Nigerian writers. Internationally and nationally, these writers played a significant role in modern African literature. However, Achebe was the most successful writer among these because he has been critical of the role of Christianity in Africa. His criticism has been regarded generally as moderate, and his creative work has won almost universal praise for its objectivity and detachment. In fact, he is one of the writers of his times with fluency in the English language. Other notable works of Achebe include No Longer at Ease, Arrow of God, A Man of the People, and Anthills of the Savannah. The title of the novel, Things Fall Apart, has been taken from William Butler Yeats' poem, The Second Coming, 1921. The poem is a prediction of the future that is marked by an antichrist figure. It goes, turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world, the blood-tamed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. The novel Things Fall Apart is centered on the life of the protagonist, Okonkwo. He is a celebrated member of the Mufia clan, and the whole plot revolves around the life and the career of this central character. As the novel progresses, Okonkwo accidentally kills a man, and he and his family are exiled from the village Mufia. A major change takes place when he is in exile with the arrival of white missionaries who transform the entire village. When he returns to the village, he sees major transformations that the village has undergone during his exile. Now, to understand the complex character of Konkwo, let's begin from the starting of the novel. He is introduced as the son of Unoka, who was a talented musician but also a coward and spendthrift. In the Emofian society, the traits which are highly valued are being physically strong and courageous, and Konkwo is very ashamed of his father because both these features are missing in his personality. Therefore, he wants to prove his physical prowess and hence defeats a wrestler called the Cat, and then he became the tallest leader of his clan by having a number of wives and many children. Konkwo commits a series of transgressions, out of which the first one is beating his wife during the sacred week of peace. This can be termed as irony because this very physical prowess of which he is so proud brings him to conflict with the rules and regulations of the village society. During the sacred week of peace, the people of Umofian society where masculine dominance and physical aggression is highly regarded, the people are prohibited from committing any violence. The second transgression comes when he kills his adopted son, Ikmefuna, again to prove his courage. When a village oracle commands that Ikmefuna should be put to death, not only does Konkwo not protest, but he kills his adopted son himself by thereby committing a transgression the second time. The oracle had asked Konkwo to keep away from the whole business. The reason behind the crime is his constant fear that the people of the society might judge him as weak like his father Unoka. The final transgression comes in the form of an accidental killing when while he is attending the funeral of a clansman, he shots down his 16-year-old son with his loaded gun. Konkwo's character acts throughout the novel as a loose cannon, which is powerful yet destructive as also for the same reason. Towards the end of the novel, Konkwo emerges as a person who single-handedly attempts to wage war against the colonizer. He emerges both as a heroic figure who shows the strength to stand up alone to white man's coercion, as well as an antagonist whose very presence is disruptive to the society to which he belongs. It is the same character of Konkwo who had the courage to save his community from the white man's oppression and also tears it apart. The colonizing force represented over here through the district commissioner plays a pivotal role in the downfall of the African community of Mufia. As the title suggests, the center, which is represented by Konkwo, falls down and is unable to hold the people together. And this downfall is evident in the manner in which he beats, kills, and alienates his own family. Language is also a very important element of Igbo society. It gives them a sense of belongingness and also is a means to preserve their culture and heritage. This very language ultimately leads to the fall of the society because the people are skeptical to change. They refuse to send their children to an English school to learn to read and write in the English language. What makes the Igbo community different from other cultures is its language. Their social rank in the society also depends on language. For instance, the comparison of Konkwo to his father Noka, and also considered as a wealthy man, not only because he married a lot of women, but because he defeated the famous wrestler of the village in a fight. The villagers have named his father Akbala, a term used in this community to refer to women as well as to men who have not taken a title. Consequently, being wealthy fetches respect for a man in the Igbo society. In a heterogeneous society, a society consisting of many different ethnic and or racial groups, social classes, language or dialects, and cultural traditions, the novel successfully unfolds the religious and cultural beliefs of the Igbo society. As the novel proceeds, the readers are given a glimpse of how there used to be a complete hierarchy of gods and deities, ranging from personal god Chi to the greatest god Chukwu in Igbo society. For the protection of the village and the clan, there were other deities like the Udo, Gugu, and Idmili. For the fertility of the earth, Ani is the earth goddess. For the natives, God is omnipresent, and praying the lesser gods and deities is a means to reach the highest god, Chukwu. Achebe has very honestly portrayed portray the picture of the Igbo society. The novelist has not even once tried to conceal the shortcomings inherent in their culture while celebrating the culture of the natives. For example, at the very outset of the novel, parents are seen advising the children not to whistle at night. Children were warned not to whistle at night for fear of evil spirits. Likewise, a snake was never called by its name at night because it would hear. Moreover, a person with a swelling in the stomach was considered an abomination to the earth goddess. When a man was afflicted with swelling in the stomach and the limbs, he was not allowed to die in the house. He was carried to the evil forest and left there to die. The people of the clan also believed in omens and ill omens too, such as twitching of the eyelid, calling someone by name, birth of the twins who were put in earthenware pots and thrown away into the jungle. The belief in these omens and ill omens is so deep-rooted in the psyche of the Igbo community that it shapes their behavior and conduct. That was the way the people answered calls from outside. They never answered yes for fear it might be an evil spirit calling. The way these people took their decisions is manifested in their superstitious behavior. The voice of the oracle was considered no less than the voice of God. The oracle was called Bala. The people came from far and near to consult it. They came when misfortune dogged their steps or when they had a dispute with their neighbors. They came to discover what the future held for them or to consult the spirits of their departed fathers. The distance between the individual identity and his ancestors in the society is narrow. In fact, the land of the living was not far removed from the domain of the ancestors. There was coming and going between them, especially at festivals. And also when some old person died, because an old man was believed to be very close to the ancestors. A man's life from birth to death was considered a series of transition rites which brought him nearer and nearer to his ancestors. Despite the fact that there were irrational beliefs and superstitious cultures in the Igbo community, it has one positive quality within itself: the very assertion in the fact of keeping the community unified. At one point in the novel, Okonkwo makes fun of the Christian religion by calling Jesus Christ Jesu Christi. You told us with your own mouth that there was only one God. Now you talk about his son, he must have a wife then, huh? Here it becomes clear that Achebe suggests that nor any religion in the world is perfect, neither can any beliefs be perfectly rational and logical. With the emergence of white missionaries and the religion, it created some doubts in the minds of the village people. Some of them, especially the younger generation, felt attracted towards Christianity. Okonkwo is one such character who wanted to show his patriotism in every aspect by showing his deep faith and commitment to his original beliefs. In a fit of rage, he kills the district commissioner, and in loneliness, he committed suicide. The district commissioner is informed by a man about the suicide in such a manner. It is against our custom. It is an abomination for a man to take his own life. It is an offense against the earth, and a man who commits it will not be buried by his clansmen. His body is evil, and only strangers may touch it. The novel is all about the collapse, breaking into pieces, chaos, and confusion. With the use of English language, the character of Okonkwo has been successfully delineated by Achebe. Towards the end of the novel, the district commissioner is of course unable to get hold of Okonkwo, who arrives in the village to avenge the killing of his court messenger. But nevertheless, he plans to devote a chapter to Okonkwo's life and the incidents surrounding his life and suicide in a book he has already started. The novel ends with the title of his book, which reads The Pacification of the Primitive Tribes of Lower Niger. In the end, Achebe masterfully brings out the two aspects of European colonialism: the accompaniment of armed guards with the commissioner as a representative of the military power, and secondly, the colonial discourse as represented by the unfinished book of the commissioner, which interprets the intimidating invasion of the white man within the African society with regards to a civilizing mission. The very use of the particular term colonial discourse is apparent even in the title of the commissioner's book, in which colonial tyranny in Africa has been termed as pacification, and this declines the extremely multiplex power structure of the Igbo community to which the readers have been introduced in the novel through the activities of a primitive race, a race which is undomesticated, barbarous, and inhuman. So, thank you so much. I have finished up with my paper presentation. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Gagnet Palko.
Yes, ma'am.
Your presentation is good. Then, can you explain how eco-criticism reveals in this novel?
Pardon, ma'am. I was not able to get through.
Can you explain how eco-criticism reveals in this novel?
How? Which criticism? Igbo criticism?
You told me about some theories are predicated, including eco-criticism also reveals in this novel. Can you?
Pardon, ma'am, I'm not getting the question actually.
Can you explain? Is it audible to you?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's audible. Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain how eco-criticism reveals in this novel?
Ma'am, Ibo is basically the community, and they are the way Mufian clan has been shown. Actually, Ibo is the entire thing which governs their life, and whenever they have to decide anything, because it is something, a pattern upon which they hold on to, and if anything goes out of that Ibo community or about out of that Ibo criticism, then that is surely going to take revenge on them, or that is something which is going to for which they have to pay back. Basically, they are so much tied to this Igbo tradition that going out of it means a crime or inviting a punishment for them. So basically, all the ties and all the threads are connected to this Igbo society of which they are a part. So anything, let it be the birth of the twin children, as I have quoted in my paper also, and calling by name the snake, or anything else in case of the death of a conco. All these things is something which is pre-decided in their community, in their society, and something which goes out of that society, it can give them something, punishment you can say, or some inviting something which can be negative, which can have negative impact on the entire community.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Captain Franco.
Thank you,
Audience,
ma'am.
this is your session to ask questions on the topic.
Yeah, Gagnitpa, I've got a clarification with you. Like, see, when we think about post-colonial literature, we always consider the literature written after colonialization, right?
Yes, sir.
But when we think about this particular novel, I mean, things fall apart.
Sir, because Things Fall Apart has been written by Chinua Achebe, and it depicts the time period after where the white missionaries reached Africa to make it more, you can say, civilized. As I have already quoted in my paper, the white missionaries had this one mission in their mind, that they are going to educate them, number one, through education, and number two, through their religion. They wanted to bring about a change. And that is how, after colonization, what all happens in that society, that is why it is called post-colonial, after the arrival of the white missionaries. What changes happened in religion and in the culture, in the education system, all that is being talked about in this novel.
No. I was not worried about asking about that particular thing. I was
Okay.
really worried about the novel that was written. Either it is, I mean, before colonization or after colonization, doesn't matter. But when you read this novel, when you do your research on this particular novel, how do you merge your culture with this particular novel that transcends your reality of colonization?
Sir, see, India has also been a colony of the Britishers, and we have seen changes in our culture after the Britishers ruled over India. For example, maybe I may be a little bit, you can say, wrong over here also. Our culture permits us to sit on the floor and have our food. But the very concept of eating our food on the dining table, it came from the Britishers only. And when we talk about our English language, which is of course not our own language, and we say that this particular language, no doubt we have changed a lot, but now, even now, when we consider it, we always try to speak English in the British manner, though there may be variations. American pattern of English language and you can say Canadian or Australian, the accent is different. But as far as India is concerned, because we were a colony of the Britishers for such a long time period, so that is why the impact of the Britishers can be seen even today also. No doubt the Britishers gave us a good number of positive things also, but in that positivity they have given us certain things which we are not able to get rid of. For example, the language pattern or the style, the accent in which we speak.
Okay, ma'am, go ahead, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you, Parko. Presentation is over. Next I invite Jolyn Sherrill to present the topic Voice of the Marginalized Through Nature, a study with reference to Derek Walcott's Ruins of a Greenhouse. I invite Jolyn Sherrill to present the topic.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am? Am I audible, ma'am?
I think raise your sound, that's better, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Now,
Yes,
you
yes,
hear
yes.
me, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Present is main minutes.
Ma'am, I'll start sharing my screen, ma'am.
Yeah, maintain your 10 minutes time, please.
Okay. Good afternoon. My topic is Voice of Marginalized Through Nature, a study with reference to Derek Walcott's Ruins of a Great House. The author of this poem is Derek Galton Walcott. He is a Saint Lucian writer. He is one of the most famous post-colonial poets. He won Nobel Prize in 1992, and he wrote Ruins of a Great House in the year 1956. And this poem explains the author's discontent with the colonizers and the colonization. The British colonized much of the Caribbean islands during the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries and made the native slaves. And Derek Walcott was actually opposing this concept in this poem. Derek was repelled by the behaviors of British and wrote works supporting the natives who are being enslaved by the British. War and nature. War and nature inevitably linked with one another. The nature was degraded after human intervention, and most importantly, after war, the nature was uh, somewhat exploited more. The natives were exploited after colonization. Like nature was degraded after the intervention of human, the natives were exploited after the colonization by the British. The voice of marginalized in this poem is conveyed through nature. British annihilated the natives like human did to nature. Human also destroyed the nature like British did to the colonizers did to the natives. The authoritarians ended up as a destructive force. Humans were also authoritarian force. We were given the authority over the nature, but we ended up degrading it. Likewise, the British also degraded the nature, degraded the native people. The poet uses the phrase dejecta membra, which means scattered fragments, to explain how the place looked after the intervention of British. He compares the native girls to moths. Moths actually symbolize attraction, determination, and faith, but he says that in this poem they were mixed with candle dust, like they are not with life, they are lifeless, and it means they are completely useless now. And he further says that lizards only live there with their dragonish claws. He says that the place is not for any kind of attractive living things. It's only now filled with lizards. The gates of the gate streak explain the intensity of pain. He compares this to the pain and shriek of the slaves when they were being tortured by the British colonizers. The stains in the gate could represent both the rust and the blood. The rust came because of the abandonment. The place was abandoned for a long time, and the gate got rust. And the blood was because of slavery. The place have seen so much pain and blood during the colonization period, and it was depicted there. Axle and coach wheels under cattle droppings explains how the nation was stuck under British rule. Uh, the author uses the symbol of axle and coach wheels, which was caught under the droppings explains how the nation was stuck under the British rule, how the natives were stuck under such cruel rule. A crow's flapping wings and settling on a branch of eucalyptus, and the eucalyptus tree produced a creaking sound. Eucalyptus was known for its strength and its prosperity and for its medicinal qualities, but here the tree is pictured as weak and fragile. The use of dead limes also explains the control of British. Lime was usually planted to fight scurvy. The British soldiers who came to the Caribbean islands, while they travel on the sea, they got the disease called scurvy, and the lime was planted to fight against that disease. The native trees were all destroyed, and lime was planted. It seems like lime was the native plant of the Caribbean islands. The natives have lost their originality just as the trees got extinct. The native trees got extinct, and the natives also lost their originality. He then says that the deciduous trees are gone. Their native deciduous trees are now gone, and only line plants exist. This shows imbalance in the ecosystem. The British have not only brought difficulty to the people, but also to the ecosystem. They have brought a huge change. The lawn breaks into a rash of trees. This explains that the natives have no time to look over their lawns. They are forced as slaves, and they have been enslaved and are forced to do so much work that they could not uh, properly maintain their own lawns. Lime now seems to be their native plants. Their own native plants and trees were all cut down by the British, and the lime was prominently planted there. Natives have lost their identity like the trees and plants on that particular area. The river that flows in that area is blocked by the growth of the lime plants, and the colonized have also blocked the sources of growth and development. The wind that blows through the lime seems to be like a death rattle. This also shows that the how the British and their authority have caused an impact on the lives of the natives. The rage of seeing the author's land infertile makes the author very angry, and he then consoles himself that once the British were also colonized. He concludes, quoting Dunn, that no man is an island. Like people, nature is also interlinked with the life of one another. People have to protect the nature like people protect each other. Human beings should not use their authoritarian power to destruct nature or their fellow human beings. Being superior does not give power to destruct nature or anyone. Power should be used wisely to save and preserve nature. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jordan Cheryl.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes,
Walcott
ma'am.
compares more animals and trees with
Sorry,
human
ma'am. I
beings
can't
in this
hear you.
poem. Hello,
Yes, ma'am.
is it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Here in this poem, Walcott compares more animals and trees with the human beings. Okay, the
Yes, ma'am.
native people, the colonialists. Can you
Yes, ma'am.
explain?
Yes, ma'am. The lime is compared to the British people, like it is used as a metonymy. Like lime is not their native plant. It is something that has been imposed on the native land to benefit British. And the native plants and trees are compared to the native people, and they are being suppressed, and they are killed, and they are under distress because British wanted to establish uh, their their authority over them. And likewise, many other that river flow is also been disturbed by the lime growth of lime, and it also explains that the river is the main source for the plants to grow, but it has been abrupted by the growth of lime trees, and it stops the development of plants and trees, which also explains that the growth of the nation is also stopped by the Britishers.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Jordan Cheryl. Then, audience, have any questions? This is your session. Okay, thank you, Jordan Cheryl,
Thank
for
you,
your
ma'am.
presentation. Next, I invite Kadri Nasrin, PhD scholar, School of International Studies, Diaspora Research Center, Gujarat. The topic is Jasmine is the Search of Identity, a lens of post-colonial diaspora. Welcome. Kadri Nasrin. Hello. Kadri Nasrin.
இல்ல ஒரு கேக்குறீங்களா இல்லையே ஜோலின் ஷெரில் தானே இப்போ ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறது
அடுத்து நெக்ஸ்ட் who's next
மோர்வி ரோஷன்
Thank you. I thank all the participants in the second technical session. Thank
ma'am
you all.
ma'am there is one more speaker. There is Dr. Moore Roshan.
Please.
Lakshmi ma'am,
Yes.
there are two more presenters. One is Dr. Moore Roshan and Kadri Nasrin.
Together to join and produce that.
Moore Roshan, are you there? Excuse me, ma'am. Dr. Moore Roshan, are you there? Check Moore Roshan. No. From Department of British Literature and Culture, Studies, Poland, Europe? No.
I think they together are joined to present the topic. I think so.
Have they left? Kadri Nasrin? No, both of them are not there. Okay, ma'am, continue. Ma'am, we can wind up, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I thank you. All the participants, those who are presented in the second technical session.